There's something quite bizarre and terrifying about watching a war start. That magnificent ball of light against the night sky from the parliament in Kiev, wondrous to see, shades of gold and iridescent light. But the blinding light was simply all about darkness, betrayal, and death. One opinion is that President Putin wants to re-envelop the countries who used to be in the Soviet Union. But I'll get back to bullying in a moment. On the other hand, the dazzling, transforming, reflective and transfiguring light of today's lessons are about light and loyalty and life. In Exodus 32, just a little bit from our reading this morning, the shining for Moses in the Exodus text is a great honour done to Moses, that the people might never again question his mission or think or speak slightly of him. He carries his credentials glowing on his face. And Moses is hurrying down from the mountain because God has alerted him to the betrayal of Aaron and the people, turning themselves from his light to the darkness of worshipping a golden calf. The transfiguration of the gospel is about the chance for some of Jesus' followers to actually see the full divinity of Jesus. And then, too, to experience the full humanity of Jesus as they return to the world at the foot of the mountain. And then the immediate aftermath of that incandescent miracle, Jesus heals. The magnificence of the transfiguration, the divinity of Christ, is not gone. But in the same way that I think that Moses veiled his face, so Jesus' divinity is experienced in the action and immediate divine healing. The incredible divinity and light are not left at the top of the mountain. It comes immediately into the darkest place of a vulnerable child who we hear shrieks and convulses until he foams at the mouth and is scarcely without it. That's the bit that happens immediately after our short gospel this morning. It is the boy, not Jesus, whose life will look and always be blazingly different. So how do we fit in our world with the glory of Jesus transfigured in our context? COVID, Ukraine, uncertainty of market supply, vulnerability of employment, all of those things. How does the transfiguration fit in here and in here? I think part of the answer is to recall the conversation that Jesus is having with Elijah and Moses, because they're talking about Jesus' departure. That's to be accomplished in Jerusalem. So the transfiguration happens within the most difficult conversation about Jesus' own darkness, betrayal, and death. Now we know that darkness, betrayal, and death are as a result of so many over so long having and abusing dominion over others. And this was Jesus' experience, as it is for many of us. There's the Roman oppression of all of the Eastern Mediterranean, including lots of places around. Then there's the synagogue leaders with power over false witnesses, power over the rigid and purist interpretation of Scripture and denial of any other way of seeing or listening, let alone listening to women or slaves. Jesus modelled not power over, but love over, love around. He included the lepers, healed the sick and the lame. But with all of the witnesses that we hear that Jesus showed to the people and to the leaders, none of that weight of evidence prevented the powers over of the day from bullying others and himself to death. Didn't work then, doesn't work a lot now. We still get bullying between states, which is at the moment bringing the world to its knees. And it hasn't stopped bullying within the church or our general society. Bullying denies that any person or group has a right to declare its independence and existence apart from its past, to live its truth and identity as it is desired now. Well, what can we do? Ukraine is actually closer to us than the events that happened on the top of the mountain of the Transfiguration. What can we do? Pray. And how do we match action with our prayer? Be informed as much as media will allow. And when calls for donations or support come in, listen to the Ukrainian voices here and respond as you can. But what can we do in our context? Be on the lookout for all types of bullies, especially those who are wanting to reclaim what they think they have lost. We have bullies in church. Resist them wanting to take back what was never theirs in reality, usually power over, and often with no sense of listening to voices that have been long silenced, so long silenced there's a presumption that they have nothing to say. Power over is a long, long list. Some power over our language and our literacy certainly results in much slavery. Power over marital rights and domestic safety and all the consequences. Power over women and children. Power over the LGBTQI community and variously gendered people. Power over how the disabled can lead their lives. It's a very long list. Wherever we resist bullying and leave the judging to God's illumination, we have the chance to be the light that transfigures individuals and eventually institutions' lives. I suspect in the next few months we're going to get a great deal in our electioneering that's about sabre rattling and maybe calls for appeasement in general, but beefed up because of the horrors that are going on by the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. But neither will bring peace nor respect. Moses, face blazing from God's presence, came rapidly down the mountain to remedy the darkness of idolatry. Jesus, transfigured, came down from the mountain bringing the light of divine healing right into dark places. Neither light was veiled by arms of war, appeasement, nor deaf ears. We're coming rapidly to Lent. It's not a dark time. It is a careful time when we seek God's transfiguring in our lives. And the witness of the divine is exactly in the darkest places of our lives, of this institution, the raging wars, the despair and grief of COVID and people's reaction to it. At our local level of context, we need to watch and call out bullying. Support activities that say to the state and to the church, enough. There's an irony in two events that are planned in the first week of Lent, not by the church. Friday the 4th, this Friday, is the 2022 Women's March for Justice, as a response to the abuses of women in their workplace, in our national parliament. And on Saturday, the Newcastle Pride Mardi Gras group will be going to Sydney to the parade, and they say of themselves, now this is ironic today, shine and throw a bright light on the resilience and compassion found in the Hunter region, and show the world your inner glittering and dazzling light. Very interesting language. No fighting or appeasement will bring any respect. No power over will bring justice. Only the dazzling love around of Christ will open our ears and hearts to stop, call out and stop bullies. Only the love around relationship will bring light and loyalty and life. These not your experiences? Listen though, try listening. Listen to the gays, listen to women who live in fear, listen to the disabled, especially if they're non-verbal. Listen to them, listen to him. And that's how we bring the transfiguration, which is light, loyalty and life, when we come down from the mountain. The Transfiguration is one of those festivals which can be all, but has a very, just because the truth is hard doesn't mean it's not good truth. But I want to leave you with some words from Jan Richardson, who is an author and artist that the Spirituality Group explored during last year. And this is called Blessing When the World is Ending. Look, the world is always ending somewhere. Somewhere the sun has come crashing down. Somewhere it's gone completely dark. Somewhere it has ended with the gun, the knife, the fist. Somewhere it has ended with the slammed door, the shattered hope. Somewhere it has ended with the utter quiet that follows the news from the phone, the television, the hospital room. Somewhere it has ended with a tenderness that will break your heart. But listen, this blessing means to be anything but morose. It has not come to cause despair. It's simply there because there is nothing a blessing is better suited for than an ending. Nothing that cries out more for a blessing than when the world is falling apart. This blessing, it will not fix you. It will not mend you. It will not give you false comfort. It will not talk to you about one door opening when another closes. It will simply sit itself beside you among the shards and gently turn your face toward the direction from which the light will come, gathering itself about you as the world begins again.